Hey everybody, welcome to Upstairs to the Right Music channel. Looks like we are live here tonight. Everything is looking good. Good to be here this evening. Just a little bit of housekeeping before I get started with tonight's topics. We are going to be doing live streams like this, I think, every Sunday night at this time. I like doing it around this time, and it seems to be working pretty good. So let's keep up with this gradually over time. If you keep it in one time slot, eventually people will catch on. So I want to be a little bit more consistent with my live streaming as opposed to the videos. I like to put up a little bit random days on the week. Anyway, so we'll do it every Sunday night like this. Glad to see everybody here. Let's see now. Let me see if yeah, everything is good. All right. So, in any case, tonight we are going to be talking some studio stories I thought that I would talk about. Last live stream, I came up with the concept of talking about the influences that I've had musically. And I thought this week, as a little bit more fun, that we would talk about some studio stories, things that occurred. I want to welcome everybody to the live stream. Everybody here, thank you. Hit that like button if you haven't done it. I have to remember to say that. All these things that you have to remember to do when you're doing live streams. It's quite, and doing videos as well, but you get used to it after 182 videos. I suppose after 182 live streams, I'll get used to it as well. Yeah, so I had the idea last time about doing influences. This time I wanted to have a little fun and talk about studio stories. Greetings, Jesse. Hey, Jesse, greetings. I want to tell some studio stories back in the day with me and keep in line with that influence concept, because a lot of the people that I met working in recording studios in Los Angeles back in the 90s, there was some really great people and there were some really not so great people. But tonight I want to talk about a few of the great ones that I ran into, and why they influenced me so much. The first one I'm going to talk about is a guy named, that I'd like to talk about is a guy named Smokey Robinson. Smokey Robinson was vice president of Motown Records. He was also a performer with Motown. Tears of a Clown, My Girl. I mean, if you don't know, not My Girl, but he wrote My Girl. So he was also a writer for Motown as well. If you don't know who Smokey is, look him up on YouTube. But a fantastic Hall of Famer, rock and roll Hall of Famer guy. Really a big influence on me just because of who he was and how he acted. My friend Jock Richmond, hey, Noodling Guitars, how you doing? It's 6 a.m. Yeah, sorry, it's a little early. Sorry there, guy. But thanks for joining in. Yeah, so my friend Jock Richmond, who's a producer, I've interviewed him on this channel, called me up one day and he asked me if I wanted to do a recording, that a gig that he couldn't make. Sometimes he got gigs and he would shoot them in my direction, and that was good. I appreciated that always. And this particular day, it was to go over a guy named Sonny Burke's house. Now, Sonny Burke was the music director for Smokey for years and years and years. And Sonny was also a really nice guy, great guy. And so he said, I need you to go over to Sonny's house and record Smokey. I was like, oh boy, okay, here we go. You know, it's funny, I didn't get nervous about the job in of itself. At that time, that was really at the height of my working in the studios in Los Angeles. I had at that moment in time mastered just about every recording process that was available on the market at that point. ADATs, Alesis had a recording system that we used. The early versions of recording software on computers we were using. So, we really had to know a lot of stuff. So I was really, whatever Sonny had, I wasn't worried about that, and setting it up wasn't a problem. It's just the nervousness of not wanting to mess up with Smokey. Because you never know with artists how they're going to be when you're recording them. Some guys are and girls are really laid back. They, if there's something that needs to be done, they can wait a minute. But some are very impatient, and let's go now. Let's do it, Prince. If you listen to the Sunset Sound videos, where the engineers who work with him discuss exactly that he had no patience for setup or anything. There's a story where he walked in with all his band and they started playing. The guy hadn't even finished setting the mics up. So yeah, a lot of guys can be like that. Smokey wasn't like that at all. So I got excited and I went to Sonny's place and sat up, and Smokey Robinson came in. And just the minute he came into the room, he was really just a warm person. He really just exudes just a kindness, just like just a really good man. You can feel in his aura the energy and spirit that he puts out. And he just hugged me. Hey, Mike, nice to meet you. Like like I was his son. And so we sat down, and I sat down, and he went into the booth, the makeshift booth that we had set up, and we started recording. He had an idea to do an adaptation of Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs, so he had some song ideas, just him singing. Now, you're sitting there and you're recording Smokey Robinson singing, one of the most beautiful voices you are ever going to hear coming out of somebody's mouth. Seriously, honestly, the man's falsetto is just, it's something, and his vibrato. And so I'm sitting there and I'm like, well, I'm trying not to mess up because I'm just really taking in, what he's doing, and just tripping off the fact that I'm sitting there and I'm recording him. And just talking to him in between, and just getting to know him a little bit, is just a really wonderful guy, and left me with the impression of really being like Smokey. See, in this business, you can really be kind of there are times when they'll put you on a pedestal. If there's some money involved, there's things you'll get the red carpet treatment, and you can get a little, like this. And Smokey, certainly being a multimillionaire and being a vice president of Motown at its height, and being a Hall of Famer musician, he certainly could be any kinds of way, six ways to Sunday. But he really was a very kind and really, really, really nice guy. And it left an impression to me to this day, all these decades later, that I try to say to myself, it's kind of a mantra I have: be more like Smokey. Another friend had an encounter with him as well at a shoot, and said that he was just the same way. He was just really wonderful. He was warm and very nice, and with the crew and everybody, signed autographs, the whole nine. So yeah, that's kind of been a mantra of mine. Be like Smokey. Just be the nice guy. I mean, there's no need to really be any way other than nice. In Smokey's situation, I'm sure he's had a wonderful life. I'm sure it's had its ups and downs like every other person, but all is said that he's had a good run. He's having a good run, and that reflects in his demeanor. He's a man who's happy. He's thankful. I think that's what it is. It's an air of thankfulness, and it's a true air of thankfulness too. It's not a fake one. So yeah, there's that, being more like Smokey, and really was something that left an impression to me on to this day. So that's one studio story that I want to share with you, is recording him. Real great guy, great voice, really just fantastic to be able to do that. The next one that I want to talk about is another nice guy. Just another example. I could talk about, like I said, the bad folks. You know, the ones that were a little bit less than nice. They were mostly a lot of the R&B female vocalists. Well, the majority of them were they lived up to the term diva. And some of the guys, but a lot of the guys that I ran into were just nice and left an impression on me and said, these are good guys. They're honestly good guys. And you'll be surprised by the next one, and that's Brian Austin Green from 90210 fame. But at this time in the 90s, Brian was signed as an artist working for Babyface's Yab Yum studio. I don't know if it was LaFace he was on or not, or if there was something else, but he was recording in Los Angeles at Yab Yum, which has since been renamed to Brandon's Way. I don't know if that studio is still there or not, but that's what it was back in the day, in the 90s. And I was working there as a second and basically a gopher. I was doing everything from rigging up Babyface's mobile MIDI rack, and his road rack, when he was out on the road and he needed to write, that was what he had in the hotel room, to going out and getting hamburgers for a rap group, Atlanta rap group. So, it was one of those jobs where you just had to be everyman. And I had the opportunity to work as an assistant at times for Babyface. Babyface is a very well known 90s and, well, actually, even up to this point, producer. Worked with Eric Clapton. You should know who he is. If you don't know who he is, again, another person that you should look up. Fantastic songwriter. Really great lyricist. I enjoy his lyric writing. And anyway, I had the opportunity to work as a job in his studio, and I had a lot of jobs, a lot of hats. And one of those hats was that I had to assist his wife, Tracy Edmonds. Now, Tracy, if you go to the My Kind of Girl video, so if you look up Babyface and you look up My Kind of Girl, which is the title of the song, and look at the lead girl in that video, that's Tracy. That's Tracy. And I don't, I'll say this much. In all honesty, guys, I have lived and traveled all over the world. I really have. And I have never seen a woman with a prettier smile than Tracy Edmonds has. I mean, when she smiles, you hear that term, someone smiles and they light up the room. That's what she does. I mean, and of course, I was in my 20s. I was all, yes, ma'ams, no, ma'ams, whatever you want. I remember she sent me out for KFC once, and I wouldn't have done it, for anybody else, because at that moment I was like, nah. But for Tracy, I was like, yeah, would you like extra crispy, extra biscuit, whatever you like. So yeah, Tracy had her own artists too, and people that she was working on. That's what it was. I think they were under a sub-production contract that Tracy was doing. And Brian Austin Green was one of those artists. And one day, Tracy and I were walking through the hallway going by, there was a set of small studios, production studios. The Studio A, of course, was the big room, and that's where the SSL was, as I seem to recall. That's what it was. Yeah, it's SSL. And room, but there was a lot of smaller production rooms. And Tracy and I were walking down the hallway, and one of the production room doors opens, and standing there is Brian Aston Green. And I'm like, holy crap, that's the guy from 90210. But when you're working in that environment at that level, you have to keep a real you can't, and you don't speak at all unless spoken to. So I stood there, and Tracy stopped, and he said, "Tracy, I just wrote a song. I just wrote a new track." And she says, "Oh, that's great. What's it called?" And he said, "No." He said, "I just wrote a track called um, Cockeyed Girl, and I'm in love with a cockeyed girl." And, I thought to myself, okay, that could work. Maybe it's a humorous kind of a way of going because he wanted to do rap. That was his thing at that time. He wanted to do rap. And Tracy was like, "Oh, okay." And I think they put that track out. You guys can look that up. But yeah, I was there the day he was working on that. And I ran into him a couple of times. He was working over at Westlake Audio. I had to bring over a piece of equipment to him and set it up. So I ran into him a few times, and again, a fantastic guy, a great guy that I just warm, really nice, not, mean spirit or rude or obnoxious, just really a nice guy. And so again, I look back on it and a lot of the opportunities that I had, I was really working with a lot of top-notch people, and a lot of them were really, really, really nice. So yeah, Brian was a cool guy. So I will say that again, just somebody who just teaches you that being nice and being just funny, just because he was just a funny guy. The way he said, I'm in love with a cockeyed girl. He was just so happy, you know. Just being just a nice guy really does pay off. So I think that's kind of it. Don't if you get the opportunity to climb up in the ranks, always remember where you came from. Always remember just to be nice. Just really to try to give back a little bit as well. So next studio story is Diana Ross. Again, same time period. I'm working at Yap Young Studio at that time in LA as a second and a gopher. And we get word that Babyface is going to be there himself. He was usually in Atlanta. That he was flying back and forth. So he spent a lot of time in Atlanta, eventually moved permanently to LA. But so I didn't see him a lot. Very few times, actually. This day was the day I did see him, and it was a very pivotal day in my life. I'll tell you why in a moment. So we got word from the studio head, David, I believe his name was, that we were going to have a very VIP guest. We were to wear certain uniforms, so they all handed out these studio. Usually, you could wear whatever you wanted to wear in the studio, and you wanted to dress warm because the place was freezing cold because of the equipment. But they came up with these blue kind of, I guess, button-down type of shirts that with the logo for the studio on it. So we all had to wear that shirt, and was there anything else? That was it. So we all had to wear that shirt. Also, they put everybody all hands to clean the place up. So I got in charge, being the low man, one of the new guys on the totem pole. I got put in charge of scrubbing the floors. So the main entrance for the studio in the back, I'm there with a bucket and a brush, and I'm literally scrubbing the floors going up into the studio, cleaning the with the bucket right next to me, and I'm scrubbing. And who comes walking in but Babyface? Comes walking in, literally whistling a tune, walks over my bucket, and keeps on walking. And I'm sitting there scrubbing, and I'm thinking to myself, well, true, you are working as when the opportunities do come up, and they did come up to record and to learn things here. You're in a great place, a very enviable place, because I didn't go to school. A lot of guys they go to recording engineer school, and then they hope to get a job interning in a place like that. I got through it because I was doing remixes for Motown. People, Reggie, put in a word for me. Reggie Andrews, and my mentor at the time. And so that's how I got in. But I was well prepared. I didn't have to go to engineering school. By that point, I really knew what I really needed to know. So yeah, Diana Ross was coming. I'm scrubbing the floor. Babyface steps over my bucket, and I think to myself, okay, I can't continue to do this because this, even though this is a great opportunity, if something else comes up, I'm going to really have to rethink this position here because it didn't pay. It wasn't a paid position. No intern position working in a studio like that is paid. You do not get paid. What I did get paid for was when I did B studio work. So their second, a lot of their artists, God, I can't think of his name right now. He had a song called Pretty Girl. John, anyway, John is his first name. I'll remember his name in a minute, but I would have to go in and do setups. I'd have to do recording in the B studio. I did get to work in the A studio to lay down SMPTE and lay down tones to the reel to reel back then. Yeah, you had to sync up your SSL board to your Struders we had. You had to lay down sync tones. You had to learn how to do that. So I did that kind of work. But that really was a day where I was starting to feeling that, maybe scrubbing floors and fetching hamburgers is something that I don't want to do. So, in any case, Diane Ross was coming, and we were told, do not speak to Miss Ross. Don't look her in the eye. You're trying, okay. So, just do one of these when you're walking by in the hallway. If she speaks to you, it's yes, Miss Ross, no, Miss Ross, that kind of thing. So this is my first time being around that kind of thing. It was funny. The next time I saw Babyface is when he brought over another singer. It was a completely different thing. But with Diana Ross, that was kind of royalty. And so that evening, when they were doing the session, and Brian Gilo was the engineer for that, I wasn't even allowed anywhere near the room except for doing the breakdown and the cleanup. So I did setup, left the room, went into the, I guess you would call it, maintenance room or work room where I worked on stuff, tinkering with stuff and putting things together. Started working on Babyface's rig, and the door opens up, and it's Tracy with Diana Ross. And she says, "This is our maintenance room." And Diana Ross doesn't say a word to me, but she looks at me and it gives a very nice smile, a very pleasant smile. I will say this, and I tell this story tonight. I chose this particular artist because it was truly something to be in the presence of that level of an artist. Somebody who, if you go back to Motown and you go through the 70s, where she was the queen. And in the 80s, this is Diana Ross. This is who Michael Jackson wanted to be in more ways than one, I think. This is Diana Ross. This is the biggest star, quote unquote, at that point that I had been around. And so total A-lister, complete A-lister. And the energy that she gave out, the power of her, I really will tell you, and you know this, if you don't know this, then there's something wrong with you, that people give out an energy, they give out a vibe. We all say that, I like his vibe, or I don't like his vibe, I like her vibe, I don't like his vibe, that kind of thing. So her vibe was very strong, almost like royalty. And a beautiful woman. God, she was about that, she was maybe older than I am. Well, not maybe, well, maybe around the age I am now. Just gorgeous, man, gorgeous woman. And so I didn't know what to say. I said, remember, don't say anything. But I had to look up and at least acknowledge them. That would have been rude. So I just gave a nod of my head to them and it went back to what I was doing. And apparently that was okay because I didn't get any grief from the studio manager after that encounter. I did do the cleanup for her. She had silverware, coffeeware, like a silver coffee, whatever, pour, beautiful porcelain cup. Uh, and yeah, she was pretty elegant. I mean, she was pouring coffees in there while she was doing her vocal session in the most princely, princess-like way possible. But she left the impression on me again about presence, about demeanor, things of that nature, and what show business is. It's show business. It's not. So what is that? It's not show friends. It's show business. And so, but in any case, still just a powerful person to be around. So that is where we will end it with the studio stories for tonight. I mentioned those people because, again, with Smokey, just about being more affable, just being more nice, always being nice, always smiling, always taking the time to talk to everybody, regardless of having good day, bad day. Really just trying to push that aside and just always put the best you forward. With Brian Austin Green, again, another example, just be a nice guy. I mean, everybody likes a nice guy. And just one of the nicest guys that I ran into working in the studios. Tracy Edmonds, I just mentioned her because she's the finest woman I've ever seen. Still is. But really a brilliant, smart woman. And she was producing movies at that time. Just a pleasure to be around her. So just another example of a powerful woman, somebody that you could look to and say, hey, this is somebody who's on their game. And Diana Ross, of course, being the same. So I have other studio stories. I sanitized just a little bit of that last one. There was something else in that studio with Diana Ross, but I'm not going to get into that. But I have other stories. I do have other, but I haven't tell you about haven't told you the one about when I was recording Belle Biv DeVoe. Showed up in the studio, and then what that was all about. That was a weird one, but we'll get into that another time. What's our next topic? So next is we're going to talk about a new guitar. So, here upstairs to the right music channel, I really honestly do not like having a lot of instruments. And I myself, really, when it comes to recording, I try to get the one guitar that I like and just stick with it. A lot of you have been along with me on the journey for the last, 3, 4, 5, 6 years. Not recorded on YouTube. I think 3.5 of those years are on YouTube of me looking for a replacement for my Telecaster. And I think I find one, and then something goes south with it, or something else comes along that seems just a little bit better, and it's just one of those, it's chasing the dragon. It's just something the gas thing, man, is, gear acquisition syndrome is something you really, really should try to avoid. It's just not healthy for your sanity and for your wallet. So as you know, on this channel, I try not to have a lot of guitars. I like to play one and get to know it really well. But because of you and because of the support that I got, 183 videos now with this one, and thousands of hours of viewing time, I have been able and blessed to start to draw a little bit of an income from this channel. I want to thank each and every one of you for helping me reach that goal of 1,000 subscribers so that I could get started with that. Yeah, so I always said that if this was a channel that was generating income, I would take that money and put it back into the channel again. Invest it into the channel. That way, I always have a stream of new things coming in to talk about and to share with you. But secretly, one of my biggest fears is accumulating a lot of guitars. I don't want a lot of guitars. There was at one point in Singapore when I think I had four Gibsons, an Epiphone, a couple of Fenders. It was ridiculous, and I only played one of them. And it was still my Telecaster because I was still using my Telecaster at that point, and it was ridiculous. And I'm not the type of cat who has to have a whole lot of guitars. It doesn't give me any satisfaction personally. As a matter of fact, I start questioning my sanity. Like, hey, that's X amount of dollars sitting there. What are you doing? But so one of my biggest fears is the guitar thing, and I said, well, let's just buy a lot of pedals. Now I love pedals. You can never have enough pedals in my book, and it's fun to buy them, trade them, and do things like that. Well, I got an offer for one of these pedals behind me on Reverb today that I'm letting go so I can get another one. But the guitar thing, it's a fear of mine. And of course, the very first thing I bought when I got some money from YouTube is a guitar. So yeah, I have purchased yet another guitar. I am not going to say what it is, however. I'm going to leave that for the unboxing video that will be released on the channel shortly with that. But I will say that I came to a kind of a healthy bargain in my mind of how to handle bringing guitars. I said, well, if you bring one in, you got to give one away. Now, I've done that. When I was in Singapore, there was a charity in Thailand that I donated quite a few guitars to. And that's always a good feeling. There's a picture that I have of a young girl with one of the guitars. It's taller than her. It's bigger than her, but she's trying to work it. And it was a guitar that, again, one of those ones that I had sitting around that I was like, what are you doing? And it gave my heart, much more joy to see that little girl with it than it just sitting around in its case. So this guitar, you guys remember this. So this is the Harley Benton Mad Cat reissue that I worked on. If you remember, I stained this neck when it came. It was an unfinished neck. Actually, that stain has settled, and it's looking pretty good. It came out really, really nice. But you guys remember this guitar. So with the new guitar coming in, I've actually decided that this one is going to be the one that I'm going to give away to charity. Now, I spoke to Fern. For those of you who are new here, Fern is my luthier here who works on my guitars. I asked him when I was dropping the guitar that I just bought off with him, I said, hey, Fern, I want to give a guitar away to charity. Do you know of one? And he said, yes, as a matter of fact, I do. So he's going to introduce me to a gentleman who does exactly that, and I will hand this guitar over to him and let him, get it to somebody who will enjoy this. So that's going to be great. So looking forward to getting that to a young person so that they can enjoy it. When I was growing up as a kid, there wasn't a lot of that going on, but over the past few decades, it's really gotten to the point where musicians are starting to say, hey, especially cats my age, are starting to say, "Hey, let's give back the best we can." Reggie was like that. I shouldn't say that because my mentor Reggie Andrews very much so was about giving back. That was his whole thing. Just another good soul. He really cared about youth and giving them an opportunity to get into this music business. And so, yeah. So, in spirit of all that, in the spirit of being more like Smokey, I will take this guitar and give it away to that charity. So, look forward this week to the unboxing video of what the new guitar is. I bet you guys won't get, you couldn't guess. Maybe you can. I'm getting to be pretty predictable, but we'll see. In any case, that will be coming up here shortly. Yeah, the next topic is going to be along those lines, talking about this new guitar. This is yeah, you know what it is, man. So don't tell anybody. Yeah. There are certain dark places in the internet that I lurk, that I do post things on. So yeah, you know who it is, or what it is. Uh, Sorry, it's a line from Big Bang Theory. Sorry. Actually, my Les Paul forum, I'm a member there, and great set of guys. To be honest with you, I really learned a lot of things and continue to learn a lot of things from that website. If you haven't checked it out, go to mylespaul.com and become a member. If you want to know anything about Fenders and Gibsons and Epiphones and Gretches and whatever, what have you, pickups, subject we're going to talk about next, that's the place to go to if you're in the dark. So yeah, I do post there. I have posted what the guitar is, but for everybody, for everybody who knows, keep it quiet. Yeah, pickups. So our crazy people, yeah. That gas, man, yeah, the gas is the dark. And that's what I'm telling you, you guys. I'm not kidding. I honestly, truly do have a deep-seated fear of having that many guitars again. I'll show it to you, or maybe you guys just, well, you can look back at my videos. Go back to pack. I think I'm talking about packing or something. It's one of my last videos when I was in Singapore. And you can look at it's a huge, I had a full studio. I had a full drum kit. I had the whole place wired. I had the speakers here, set up. A huge room. That thing from one end to the other had guitar cases, and I was mortified. I said, how did I get to this point? How did this happen? What happened? It was the gas. It was that, let me try this one. Oh, let me go back to this one. Oh, that's interesting. Let me go see if I can find one of those. Fortunately, moving here cured that. I did bring the entire collection, but I sold it off immediately once I got here. Of course, because their value are higher here in Europe than what I paid for them over the years in Japan and all the other places in the States. So narrowed it back down to what I thought was going to be a good guitar. Let me talk about that real fast. So the Epiphone 59 that I have, a lot of people have signed up, became members to this channel because of that guitar. I've been having some issues with it, actually, this would be a great place to talk about. I had it for a year and a bit now. I bought it in January of last year, as you know. I had the electronics taken out and replaced with Lollers. Set up really well by Fern. And the doggone thing just buzzes up and down the neck. Now, I know what you guys are thinking, nut, bridge, all those things. But again, Fern is, he's been doing luthier work all his life. So he's narrowed it down to the second truss rod because, In Epiphone, in a Gibson, there's a single truss rod that runs through the neck down to the body. And Epiphones is a dual truss rod system. There was actually two truss rods in there, and apparently Fern is thinking, because he'll set it up, I'll bring it home. It'll either go in its case or it's sitting in the room temperature and all that, it being all equal and all that. While watching, I must say, she said, "Yeah, yeah." And by the way, guys, this is in no way a criticism of that guitar because, as you know, I have ranted and raved about that guitar. I love it to death. But we have just been having a problem with the truss rod on it. And I'll bring it home and it'll just it'll start getting, the neck will start getting a little bend to it. So that's what's going on with that recently. I'm going to take it to Fern when I go to pick up the new guitar. I almost said what it was. I almost screwed myself. When I go to Fern to pick up the new guitar, he's asked me to bring it by, and he's going to really put some serious attention to it. But yeah, I've been having problems with that. I used it for a recording, to record a guitar solo on a song I wrote called Belly Dancer. I think I played that for you guys here. And that was it. That's all she wrote. Since then, I haven't been able to use it because she just buzzes up and down the fretboard. So this new guitar purchase actually is to be kind of a replacement for that. Yeah. I'm sure Fern can. Fern, like I said, he's a master builder. He really actually he builds guitars. He showed me a guitar. He was a SG guitar that he was building the other day. The SG shape guitar that he was building the other day by hand from really exotic wood. A very expensive, high quality mahogany he was using. If you want to learn about tone woods, maybe I can ask him if we can come down to his shop and we can film him going through his wood collection because he has a great collection of different woods that he uses to build with and to repair with. And one day he sat me through the different kinds of mahogany. And this mahogany that he's using for this custom build, yeah, I think that'd be a great video because you could look at the different, the wood that they use on Epiphones is really a porous mahogany. It's the lightest of mahogany. It's a true mahogany. Well, they're all mahoganies. We've been through this. Mahogany is mahogany, but there are different species within that genre. What's the word? It's getting late, guys. No, I'm not even going to try it. Within that family, yeah, let's put it that way. They're all different. Yeah, they're all different species of mahogany, and the species that Epiphone uses is a very porous one. So when you get those headstock breaks, they're actually more difficult to repair because they're not a clean break. It'll be a jagged break. That's because of the lightness of that particular mahogany. Whereas in a Gibson, it's a slightly denser mahogany that they use. And when you get a neck break on that or any kind of break on that, it'll be a little bit of a cleaner break. So those are a little bit of the differences between those two guitars, but I digress. Any case, yeah, that truss rod is being an issue, and this one that I bought is replacing that guitar for now. If I can't get that truss rod sorted out, I might have to, let that guitar go because honestly, if it's not being used, if it's not earning money, earning its keep, so to speak, in the studio, it just doesn't stay. I don't want it. And as much as I love the neck on the guitar in the middle position on the 59, but with those the burst bucker, there I go again, burst bucker 2 and 3. I can never say that word. The middle position on that guitar is the creamiest, most lovely tone that you're ever going to hear out of a set of bus burgers from Gibson. So yeah, I love that guitar, but if I can't play it and it has that issue, then it's got to go. So yeah, that's the thing. So that leads into my last subject of tonight is talking about pickups. The new guitar. See, if I tell you what the pickups are, and that'll give it. With some of you guys out there, you'll know what I'm talking about. Let us say that the pickups in the new guitar are adequate. I got a chance to plug it in and play it, of course, a bit. I'm always nervous when I buy, because I'm old fashioned. I used to go into a store, sit down, sales staff comes over and says, "How can I help you?" And you say, "Oh, I want to try that guitar." He gives you a look up and down to size up whether or not you can actually afford said guitar before he hands it to you. And then you proceed to try that and other ones, and then you make a decision. That's how it used to be. And this online thing is new for me, and so I'm always nervous. But I've been lucky because I will say this much about it: it came in. It's good, and I like the pickups in it. However, I like the burst bucker two and threes even better. And I'm thinking to myself, if I am going to have to let that guitar go, the 59, if we can't sort out that truss rod issue, then the thing that I would probably do is keep the two and three pickups out of it, or at least go out there and buy a set, because I like the tone of them. I always said that if you find a set of pickups that work for you, then you should kind of stick with those. Just again, along with the guitar, the pickups, the amp, all that. I'm a firm believer. If you find something that works, stick with it, learn it, and become a master of it. And that will define your tone as much as these as well. Certainly, everybody's playing a line six or Kempler. I don't know how different your tone is going to be. We shall see. But really, I like those pickups. And so my thoughts are on keeping them, taking them out of the guitar, and I have other pickups around, laying around that I could replace those with, and selling the guitar as is. Uh, and I'm going to take an L on it anyway. If I do let it go, another reason that I don't want to let it go, or just obtaining another set of burst buckers. Even though I do like the pickups in the guitar that I have, new that came in, I would like to experiment with putting these burst buckers in and seeing if I can continue with that tone because I do like it. And so the pickup thing is a subsection of the gas thing, is the moral of this particular story, because as you can see, it's kind of circular. Well, I like the pickups that are in it, but I like the pickups in this guitar. If this guitar goes, I'm going to miss those pickups more than the guitar. Well, I'm going to miss guitar too, but if it's got issues, then the pickups are really the key thing that I'm going to miss, which I believe is 80% of the game as far as your guitar is concerned, the pickups. And what to do in that situation? Do I learn to love the new ones? Do I just, of course, I'm going to keep them and play them, and maybe I will learn to love them. But you see the dilemma that you put yourself into with, with gas. Actually, in this case, it's really not gas. It's really sticking to my mantra of sticking with the sound that you like. Now, of course, if I do swap those pickups out of the 59 and put other ones in, that will slightly devalue it, and whether or not on open market, if that would be desirous for somebody to buy, I don't know. And I wouldn't feel comfortable selling it out on the open market either, knowing that it has issues. So that means it has to go back to the guy that I bought it from, which is a music store. I bought it from him. He's comfortable, I'm sure, with buying it back. He's going to rape me on, on the buyback anyway. So if I swapped out the pickups, that's really not going to make a big difference. And again, like I said, if he knows what the problem is, maybe he can send it back. It's out of its warranty now, but maybe he can send it back to Epiphone. Something he can do with it, and it's not a bad guitar that's floating around out there for the next person to have to deal with. So that's how I'm going to deal with that situation. So yeah, that's talking about pickups. As you can see, I have absolutely too much time on my hands. If those are the major concerns that I'm having with my life right now. Now, actually, I'm digging my Harley Benton SC Custom. As you guys know, I really love that guitar with the custom built pickups that I put in it for recording right now. For the as a workhorse guitar for recording, I'm happy with it. If this new one can offer a different flavor that adds to the mix, then all the more better. But if I just had to stick with the Harley Benton, I'd be happy with it. But anyway, the new one is something that I want to try out. And actually, we're going to do a little comparison with that against the Harley Benton, the new one. I'm starting to give too much away. Okay, so I think that's it for tonight. We are at 51 minutes and 23 seconds, according to my clock. Those were the topics that I wanted to discuss this evening. Anybody got anything out there? Any questions, any comments? All three of you watching? No? Okay, fair enough. Yeah, I really do enjoy having these discussions with you guys and these live streams. I'm a little, apprehensive, of course, when I sit down here and I set up the camera and get everything ready to go. And I always have a script here on the floor. You don't see it, but I've written a script of the topics that we're going to discuss for the evening, and hope that I can squeeze an hour out of them. I think tonight somehow I have pulled that off again. But I do enjoy having these live stream discussions with you. If you have any things that you want me to talk about during the live streams, if you have any questions, topics of discussion that you think are interesting, shoot them by. We have upstairs to the right music at Gmail, so you can always send a email out. Also, that's also, if you look in the description, you'll find us. And also down in the description of this video, if you come across it, I always read all the descriptions, all the discussions, comments down, and the description part, the discussion part of the page. And if you put a question in there that is interesting, I will certainly do that. I will discuss it here on the live stream. All right, guys, it's almost midnight here in the Netherlands. I am going to have a cold glass of milk and go to bed like the old man that I am. Actually, no, I've got to do some mixing here on the album that I'm working on, which is coming along very nicely. I don't know why my camera's fading out on me. But anyway, before I lose my picture here, I will say, take care, Ben. Thank you so much for showing up, brother. I will say goodnight to all you guys, or a good day to some of you. Enjoy your day. A happy Easter, guys. Hope the Easter Bunny brought you lots of chocolates. I know he brought me a lot. This is probably why I'm sitting here holding my stomach right now, regretting it. In any case, you guys take care, and I will see you later. Bye-bye.